There you go. Hi guys and chapettes, this is Stacey McLennan of Unity Peace Patrol News. We have an epic show tonight, guys. It's not so sunny in little Northamptonshire, but it's old all the same. We have tonight the Human Library, who's Michael O. We have Black Hole Bridger, and we have PJ of Axiom Curb. So we're all joining forces from what I understand. We've got some epic stuff tonight in regards to the broadcast there. We've had a bit of a technical glitch, so sorry about being so late. Yeah, we had a technical glitch and I accidentally kicked the Black Hole Bridger out of the conversation, so he's just on the phone with us tonight.
You know, get rid of me, girl.
I know. It's not very good, is it? Right, guys, just a quick update on the Love Activists to get you all up to speed with what's happening. Let's have a look and see what's going on here. We have an eyewitness and somebody that was in the building that was one of our pals, isn't it, Michael? Jay Brad. Here we are.
Yeah, that's Jay.
Yeah, that's Jay, our good old friend there. And we're just going to play a little bit of what he's actually said to the news reporters. Oh, God, don't he look rough? Bit of an improvement of what he was before, eh?
I have a 10-second delay, Stacey.
Ah, that's no problem. You'll see it pretty soon then. I think I'm having a bit of a delay here, guys.
It's just come through.
For some reason, some of these videos on these sites don't play when you're on here. They just keep buffering.
I've done that, do they? Right, okay. Well, we'll go past that and we'll just keep just read out that what was said. So the activists currently occupying a former Liverpool bank plan to lock themselves in the vault if police and bailiffs tried to evict them. The protesters, known as the Love Activists, have been seen inside the former Bank of England building in Castle Street in Liverpool for the past 13 days. Since then, it has been draped in anti-establishment banners and used as a shelter for the homeless. James Bradley, I don't think I've ever known him as James, from anti-eviction group Bailiff Watch. Well, they need to correct that as Bailiff Watch and Advice, but they don't like the word advice. This media. Today, he said in a but anyway, so he said in the statement on behalf of the activists, if the police and the bailiffs do attempt to storm the building, there's an intention to lock themselves in the vault, which is going to be very difficult for them to get out of. Then it goes on, lovely picture there of Mr. Brad himself. Love activists were hit with a court order earlier this week, demanding that they leave. The site is under 24-hour police guard, and the fire service has declared it unfit for human accommodation. I don't know how they can do that while they're on the outside of the building. Don't know what you'd think to that, Michael. If the police and the fire service have actually said that they're inside the building without actually being inside the building, can they actually make that assumption?
No, they can't, because they've got to get inside the building and then make a decision as to whether it is actually fit to be occupied by any human beings. What the fire brigade may have done is they may have already been around there long before it was occupied by the Love Activists. And because one thing the fire brigades do from time to time is they will visit large premises on their patch, so to speak, and they will assess it for its fire risk, and also they produce a battle plan. So if there is a fire in that building, they know where water hoses are, water points are. They also know where there's points where flammable goods are kept and things like that. So they might be working on old assumptions, and that in itself can be a bit of a problem.
It can present a bit of a problem, but I've seen somewhere on a social media outlet that undercover coppers actually were in the building, and they said they were tour guides. Then they came out with something else, like they were in buildings, and they actually locked themselves in a vault by accident.
Yes, I mean, I think that's a bit dark. I mean, they've been. I mean, you would have thought the police would have learned by now. They've been caught doing this before. They've been caught at protest marches in London, stirring things up. And really and truly, this is the height of stupidity. I mean, if the police are trying to get the upper ground, I mean, they have just completely destroyed all credibility. Those two officers, when they managed to get themselves freed from the vault, I think the best thing they can do is sit down and write out their resignation letters, because they're next to useless now.
They are indeed. I mean, I just can't actually understand as to why on earth there has been all this madness. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I get very confused with the fact that they've tried to lock themselves in a vault. I mean, do you think this might have been a ploy or an attempt, like an experiment, so to speak? I mean, I don't know what everybody else's thoughts on this are.
Well, for a start, I mean, if it's shown that this is agent provocateur, I mean, it's going to destroy the credibility of any prosecution that the police or the CPS try to mount. My view of it as an ex-policeman is it'll be dead in the water. Agent provocateur in Scotland, there is something under Scottish law. There is something called agent provocateur. If there's any evidence of an agent provocateur being involved in anything else, it doesn't go anywhere. And I think they've got a similar law in certain European countries.
Yeah, see, it's all mad. See, this article was in the Liverpool Echo, and that was on the 1st of May, and now I've got another one from the 1st of May as well, guys. Quite interesting as it goes, because it's about the dispersal order that happened with the with this. It says about Merseyside police can confirm that a dispersal order zone under Section 34 of the Antisocial Behaviour Order Crime and Policing Act was introduced in part of Liverpool City Centre on Thursday, the 30th of April. The notice started at 8 p.m. and is valid until Saturday, 2nd of May at 7:59 p.m. And this is all the streets that they. I don't know whether I put this in the last broadcast or not, but this is something. This is where they're saying that people can't go. Human rights and everything. There's people that work along there. There's people that. I mean, there's a pub here somewhere. I think that's the Stag and Lettuce or Slug and Lettuce. What? Yeah, Slug and Lettuce. There's a restaurant here. There's a hotel here, and in order to get through there from Liverpool James Street is to go up here or something, like to go to these ones, and like even there's pubs and clubs here as well, you know. So to block that off and say that say that people aren't allowed there, it's a bit unfair. I think it's a breach of human rights to go and earn a wage, I suppose. I mean, there's people that can't even go there to pass some food or anything.
If you look at the legislation itself...
Stacey, do you think they are trying to lay the actual not letting people get into the place and the businesses losing revenue onto the protesters, where it's not really the protesters' fault, because they have every right to be there and under the Constitution?
I think, do you know what? I think they're trying to put a lot of pressure on the activists. Which leads me on to another article that I've got here.
Yeah, can I just say something a minute, Stacey? The other evening, I had a look at the legislation that refers to these dispersal orders, and it does state very, very clearly that they cannot stop people who are visiting businesses or work within there or have to go in there for any other reason, like medical reasons. They cannot stop them. Now, the way they apply these is it's a very clumsy measure. And if you also read the legislation, it said whoever the inspector is, or the senior officer is, who makes this dispersal order, they must take into account Articles 10 and 11 of the Human Rights Act. Now, one thing that police officers seem oblivious to is Section 6 of the Human Rights Act. And what that says, very simply, is that if any public authority and that includes a police force, and it also includes anyone holding the office of constable, who performs any act which is incompatible with a person's convention rights, and that convention is the European Convention on Human Rights, they are deemed to be acting unlawfully. Now, if a police officer, being a Crown servant, acts unlawfully, that is misconduct in public office. That's a very serious offence under common law. It carries a maximum penalty of life imprisonment. But because we're past the 13th of April, when the Criminal Justice and Courts Act came into being, that means that the police can be prosecuted under Section 26 of the Act. Or through either improper or, well, it'll be improper exercise of police powers and privileges. They have really badly handled this.
They have. I think they've just handled it badly from the word go. I mean,
I agree. They have. I mean, whoever the gold and silver commanders were, I mean, yeah, they're looking very tarnished.
They are, and the thing is, they've actually been accused of stealing food, and we do have evidence of this, guys, from a friend of ours. Let me just find this.
If they are doing that and they're denying them water, that is a breach of health and safety. It could also be a breach of human rights. So, I mean, the police are not being clever at all. They're acting no better than criminals. I know it sounds rather harsh, and I know the police may not like it, but I'm afraid that's exactly what they're being told to do. And whoever the senior officers who are behind it, those senior officers seriously want to consider resigning.
Here's something for you, Michael. It might shock the rest of our viewers here, but our viewers and anyone that's listening in, even our little friends at GCHQ, it might shock them.
Sorry guys, I think I'm going to have to bail out because the delay is, I'm not hearing Michael.
Okay.
And I'm not hearing anybody else, so I'm going to have to bail out. But as regards, the police are actually putting the protesters under a siege. And I want to ask Michael, surely that is an illegal move on the police behalf. Now I'm going to listen on now to the actual programme, so I'll be listening in. So I'm hearing myself. I'll catch you guys on the flip side, okay?
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for coming on, Paul.
Thank you very much for having me, Stacey. Thank you very much for being there, Michael, and thank you very much, PJ, for attending the panel.
Okay.
Bye-bye now.
All right, you take care. Bye. Glad that happened.
As they say, technical hitches, you don't know when they're going to come up behind you.
No.
In answer to what Paul said about putting them under siege, I've seen so-called sieges go horribly wrong when I was a policeman. And when they do go wrong, they can go horribly wrong. People get hurt, and that's not just the protesters, it's also the police as well.
Yeah.
Really and truly, like I said just now, the senior officers of Merseyside Police really seriously need to think about resigning.
Absolutely.
They have badly, they badly judged the situation. Their actions are indefensible. The bronze commander, who would be the person on the ground, that person really and truly has got a lot of questions to answer, not just to his senior officer, but also to the Police and Crime Commissioner for the Merseyside area. But he's also got a lot of, he or she, maybe a female inspector, they have a lot of explaining to do to the public as to why they behaved in the way they did. I mean, erecting a fence, was that done under a court order? I doubt it very much, unless Merseyside Police or the Liverpool City Council can produce a court order to erect that fence. They are going to be facing some very, very embarrassing questions, and they could even be facing prosecution or even litigation or both. I mean, we are beginning to see a police state emerging, if not, it's here already. But the thing is now, it's blatant and out in the open. We can see it, and if people really put their minds to it, we can do something about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Here's a bit of evidence here. So obviously, as Unity Peace Patrol News and Axiom Curve, we don't like to obviously just say something without any backing, shall we say? Let me just. Can you guys see that? All right.
Yeah, I've got that.
Yeah. This is Merseyside police stealing a couple of bags. I say a couple of bags. There's quite a few bags of shopping bags full of food for the activists.
Yeah, and if you look, see these guys, they're being caught on camera.
We submitted a letter to the council regarding the fence.
Wow.
It's only got a load of abuse there. One word I could hear being called out very clearly was thieves.
Yeah, because they are thieves. They're stealing food. And judging by the last couple we saw, I think that we would have had a situation where he would probably stuffed his fucking face, if I'm honest. And that's me being polite.
Well, the thing is with these public servants is they've all got a duty of care, and the only time it ever stops is when you die, right? So what these guys like to do is to kill you off as soon as they can, and doing that is like stealing food and things like that. That's how they go about it. So they abandoned the duty of care the minute they decided to steal the food.
And the other thing as well, PJ, is that they have obviously breached Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act 2015 because they are acting, they're using their police powers and privileges improperly, and that is an indictable offence. Also, we have the potential offence
definitely.
of misconduct in public office because they are breaching the Human Rights Act.
I'd say even without the Section 26, Michael, it's still wrong.
It is very wrong, but I'm just kind of trying to sort of tally up just what sort of things can be pinned on them. You've also got misconduct in public office. You've got breaches of health and safety. I mean, it's just piling up. I mean, they are really silly. I mean, you can see down that alleyway that they've put one of those fences across the door. If there was a fire in there, nobody could get out. Those police officers and whoever erected those fences are going to get done for manslaughter by gross negligence, and that carries, I believe, it carries a 14-year prison sentence. But then again, you ask yourself the question: is it manslaughter by gross negligence, or is it attempted murder? This is what we have to look at. We have to look at exactly what they're doing and really sort of add up just how malfeasant these police officers and possibly the council are being. And we have to ask ourselves the question: should they continue to be paid out of the public purse? No, they shouldn't. They have betrayed their trust that the public has in them, and the public should pay them no further salary. They should be told, sorry, no, you betrayed the trust. You're leaving today.
Yeah. Another thing is, if was it the fire service that declared it unsafe?
I would like to know when they did that, because
well, if that's what they did do, then don't you reckon they should be inside that building, making it as safe as possible while the people are in?
Yes, they should. I suspect, though, PJ, what's happened is it's an old risk assessment that they did, and they're going by that. But the thing is, I mean, how would the fire brigade have got inside?
Well, there should be negotiations taking place to make things like paramedics and fire service go in. I mean, the only people that don't really want to go in are bailiffs.
Yeah, because I think the bailiffs know that they're on dodgy ground anyway. The thing is, what is becoming very clear is a lot of these evictions, there's not even a valid eviction order or anything. It's all fraudulent. It's been cobbled together in some solicitor's office, and they try to pass it off as a genuine court document, but they know damn well they're not. I mean, the number of times that solicitors have been caught forging court papers is getting out of hand. It's beyond a joke now. I mean, there was a case that was heard at Bournemouth where an associate solicitor from a major law firm was found to have forged a court document and also a fraudulent court stamp in his office in Wales. The circuit judge was hearing it, was not impressed, and ordered full disclosure from the claimant. The claimant got very, very nervous because obviously they're a major bank, and being told, right, you've got to show everything. They don't want to do that because I haven't heard what's happened yet, but I mean, like I said, it's getting beyond the joke, and really and truly, I think if a player says, oh, I've got a warrant, I think most people now are going to say, well, really, where'd you get that from? The Disney shop.
What copier did you get it from? That's what I usually ask them.
I think the interesting thing about this Bank of Love in Liverpool is that they're using the Article 61, and you know, not going too out your topic, Stacey, but just going over to Tom Crawford's event on Friday, we were actually beginning to use Article 61, where as soon as we mentioned it, we had no need to actually use it because it worked. But for those in Bank of Love that have actually used the Magna Carta Article 61, they don't seem to be getting as much as what Tom Crawford's did. And I think that's due to
numbers.
Due to the numbers, definitely, yeah. Because there's no difference in situations between the Bank of Love and what would have took place in Nottingham on Friday.
Which does bring me on nicely to Tom Crawford, actually. Let me just get this. I've just got a lovely image here from an eyewitness, which I think is very, very significant. Is him walking across a bridge with a sign saying, "We're all Tom Crawford." Can you guys see that yet?
Yeah.
And he's a proud man, you know what I mean? I mean, he doesn't want to go through all this with everything he's going through, but it's not all about, like, the cancer. This is what the media is actually saying, oh, cancer sufferer this, cancer sufferer that. Yes, he is suffering cancer, but he's also suffering from Bradford and Bingley as well. And he's suffering their fraudulent documents, all this other stuff that's been happening. He's walking across the bridge and he's quite proud there. It's just, and I've seen some of the articles. I mean, I've got a couple here as well. It's all propaganda, if I'm quite truthful, because it's just absolutely shocking the amount of.
Yeah, he's a great guy, Tom. He's just as he were going in for the second half in the afternoon to court, a guy with the Big Issue stopped him to offer him his last issue of the Big Issue, and Tom wasn't sure if he had money on him, but you know, he went straight in his pockets. He got out what he needed, £2. He paid the guy. He took the Big Issue and walked straight into court with it.
Brilliant.
Look at that.
What a guy! What a guy!
Such a day that he's got, and he even took time out for a guy who offered him his last Big Issue.
That shows you what sort of a guy Tom is.
Oh, he's a great guy, yeah.
Of course, there's what's his name, Guy Taylor.
Yeah, he's one of the men of the hour. I think everybody. I mean, it's not like Big Billin, as he said in the video. He had a video, didn't he? He had a video of him, like talking about, like, I'm not favoritizing anyone. I'm not bigging up anyone. Every one of you that were there, in one way or another, is an absolute star, and I believe that. I believe every word that he says. He's got no reason to lie, and then he's got all this. He's got all this. I'm a French, but the pair of balls that hang between your arse, you know. That's all these that ever talk about, you know. Like, they don't have anything half decent to say in this propaganda. The only thing that's half true is the last sentence here, where it says, but the bank fraudulently changed their terms on their mortgage without their consent. That's the only truth.
That is something that the media have not been saying up to now. That is a change of course for the mainstream media. I think they are now beginning to wake up to the fraud that is going on. I mean, this UCAS is nothing more than a cover for asset stripping and legitimising fraud by banks.
Yeah, definitely.
I was reading something on Beat the Bankers and Beat the Bailiffs and the Banks, and it was pretty clear from what the barrister for Bradford and Bingley was saying. She could even string together a credible statement. It was all well, the thing is, it's all very well going unless you've got hard evidence to back up your what you're trying to claim. It's a waste of time of both the defendant, the judge, and the court, and public money. And to be honest, why not Bradford and Bingley just admit, okay, yeah, we tried it on, we got caught, all right, we're going to call it a day. They won't, because they know damn well, if the court turns around and says, you are frauds, you are cheats, that's it. The whole banking system collapses.
See, this is what I like about Tom Crawford, is spirit. Even before the hearing got underway, there was disruption in the court, so there was obviously a lot of people outside. PJ was there on Friday at the court. There was, how many people were there, PJ?
I don't know exactly. There were definitely hundreds there. And to be honest with you guys, we were peaceful. Most of the day was peaceful. We didn't really cause any sort of, disorder in any way, apart from the time when, we were challenged by the police and G4S, which we stood his ground and we did what we should have done. We did everything lawfully, and that's what materialised what you've seen on YouTube, and that's the only time it got to that stage. Rest of the day were beautiful day.
Yeah.
I mean, who was it who started that off? Was it G4S getting silly?
I wasn't actually within the, amongst it all, as you can see from our footage that I filmed. So I can't really answer that. If you want my opinion, yeah, it's obviously G4S, but
because I know in some of the footage that's on YouTube, BJ, you see two rather overweight G4S goons running in through a side door, looking pretty scared.
There's a bit. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, I've seen that footage. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Someone alleged to have been assaulted.
From what I can understand, some G4S goon did get arrested in the end when the police were told for the umpteenth time arrested.
This is what I don't understand is the fact that this.
I think there was at least, well, from what I came across, there was at least 3 alleged assaults.
Or by G4S?
G4S or the police, but, you know, on the people. 3 alleged assaults from the people, yeah. There may have been more, but I know there was at least 3.
That's not good on the police or G4S.
No, it's not. It's absolutely disgraceful, and I think when with your footage there, PJ, we've seen one of the gentlemen that got assaulted, and you could see his face was starting to swell up ever so slightly as well.
Yeah, I've also got some photos that I've not yet managed to upload, but I've got photos of his knee, his elbow, and the side of his face.
I mean, what happened in that case? Was he pushed over and trampled, or was he just punched and kicked?
Well, as I explained, he was coming out of court, and they took him out of that side door, and as he stepped through the door, I'm not sure whether it was a police officer or a G4S, but one of them stuck his foot in between his legs, and another guy pushed him off.
Well, that's assault. That is assault per se. Whoever's responsible should face charges.
Well, they knew it was assault because they planned it, and you could tell they planned it on how quick they responded after they did it by, running back in court and shutting the door. So you could tell it was planned because they wouldn't have been able to do it as quick and as.
It's almost PJ, as if they were trying to whip up the crowd into to cause aggravation. It sounds to me that was planned.
Well, I've seen the footage of one of them getting assaulted, and you can definitely tell, they set out to do it from the start. So there's no getting out of that one. We've got footage from mobile phones and also their CCTV on the courts. And on the day we asked if it was working, we was told that it was working. So if they come around and say, "Oh no, we had a bit of camera failure," then that just goes against them because they already told us it was working. Plus, we've got backup anyway, so we're very hard to get away at.
They'd like to stand on then, have they?
No, definitely not.
Good.
So brings us on to our next article here. This is from our favourites, BBC. It says Tom Crawford eviction verdict delayed over disorder fears. There's an image of the crowd, part of the crowd, because there was more than 150 there. A judge said that he will deliver his verdict in a long-running eviction battle via email due to fears the judgment would spark disorder.
That is.
I'd like to just question something on that, because I read that and it says a judge has said he will deliver his verdict. Now that could mean another judge is going to be delivering the previous judge on the day's verdict. So he doesn't really tell you who's delivering what.
Mm-hmm.
All we know is it's going to be coming through an email, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it said fears the judgment would spark disorder, then that pretty much tells you the decision already, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
The thing is, you see, there's been other cases where they've already decided before the person's ever walked into the court.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not even a legitimate hearing or even a legitimate court. I mean, with the eviction cases I've been involved with, when you get hold of the caseman file, it's blank. The printout is blank, and all you've got across the top is no judgments, no orders, no fees in this case. So the whole thing has been done outside the legal process. There's no legitimacy in what the bailiff does. You see the bailiffs. They're going to walk up and you say, "Show me the warrant." Ooh, no, they kind of put it in their pocket or hold it to their chest, and then the police start getting leery. That strikes me as being, well, it's fraudulent, absolutely fraudulent. If the police are taking part, they should be arrested.
Well, I think we've had a relatively good idea of what the crack is, and I think, you know, events like this is just going to demonstrate and prove to the public really what really is happening. Because, like you say, according to this statement from BBC, he's pretty much already been declared, you know, ruled that he lost his hearing or his appeal.
Well, the thing is, what are they doing? Putting that up when any reasonable, and even Tom doesn't even know what the hearing is, the verdict is.
See?
It does beg questions of the BBC. How are you so sure?
Yeah, see, they say support for Mr. Crawford came across the country after a Facebook group was set up, but they won't say what the Facebook group is.
Well, can I just say, sorry, Stacey, don't forget, this is propaganda. What you're reading here is propaganda.
Oh yeah.
My version of it is the judge was too scared to give a verdict or a result, and he was trying to delay it as much as find any excuse he could to delay it. That's the truth. Mm-hmm. The propaganda is, oh well, you know, because of this and because of that, and we'll make, you know, verdict go through an email at a later date. But that's not the case. The case is the judge knew he was wrong, and he couldn't act in the way he wanted to act because he knew of the consequences. And he had to do everything he could to delay it, and that was that.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say we've got a video here of A.D. Sutcliffe giving it the real version, the truth, which is what he was saying in this. I mean, in one of his videos, one of the videos that went out with the newspaper articles on the internet, was he saying, "We're all Tom Crawford." Like, it could be anyone. That's all it really says. But I've got the real version of what happened right here. This is on YouTube as well. Credit to Tony Doherty for the video. I'm going to play it now, and it's about 3 minutes long, but here it is. Like, this is the real version of what A.D. Sutcliffe actually said, that the BBC refused to actually show.
Bear in mind, I hate cameras. Yes. I'm just an everyday person that's against corruption. I'm here as the creator of the response network groups on Facebook, set up basically around what's happened with Tom Crawford in recent times. He's faced 2 eviction attempts when there's clear, blatant bank fraud involved. And today is Tom's hearing time, final time to get his evidence across and have an appeal hearing put in place to try and deal with the corruption.
Why is it important?
To me, it doesn't matter whether it's Tom or anyone. I'm against people being put on the streets. And when the likes of Tom and Sue have paid the mortgage religiously, week on week, month in, month out, paid every single penny due, and changes have been made to their mortgage agreement by the banks, then it's wrong and it needs dealing with. And people are standing up for it and realising that what's happening is wrong and what's happening shouldn't be happening. There's blatant bank fraud involved here. We're all against it. It revolves around people being put on the streets. I don't want to see people put on the streets. These people here don't want to see people put on the streets. We're all here to prevent these people from the streets. To be honest with you, I'm not surprised at all. People are waking up to what's happening around them. People are realising that fraud is taking place. People are realising that everybody, you, me, anyone who's got a mortgage, are only 3 mortgage payments away, missed mortgage payments away from losing the home, facing eviction, without giving an opportunity to try and deal with the situation. But now there is an opportunity to deal with the situation. Contact us at Response UK and we'll tell you how to deal with it. We'll help you through it. Paperwork, whatever. We'll help you every step. We can help you, we will help you. Yeah, I want to make it perfectly clear that this is not, nor has it ever been, a protest. This is people coming and standing up in support of the Crawfords, standing up in support of the everyday man and woman who face the same problems day in, day out. People who struggle, everybody falls on hard times. Everybody at some point will fall on hard times. People will miss the rent. People will miss the mortgage payments. But to face eviction for falling on hard times, if that's not wrong, then I don't know what is.
Here, AD.
He's quite a guy, AD.
He's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He's got a lot of guts as well, you know, to go out there and help people and get people involved. And the people and the admin that he has on these groups are brilliant. I mean, I've helped out with some evictions and stuff, but that's in my local area, you know what I mean? And he's done some epic work, though, to be quite honest. He's done some brilliant stuff, and Tom Crawford was a big fish for him to fry. But how he's coped with it has been absolutely immense.
Yeah, I tell you, AD's doing a lot of. He started doing Mackenzie friend now.
Yeah.
Somebody contacted me through a friend. I knew them through Legal Beagles, and I put them in touch with Response. He spoke to AD. AD went to court with him, and he got the eviction stopped. So all due credit to AD. I mean, when he started Response, I don't think even he foresaw that it would grow to what it is now. And I mean, now he is actually going into court with people and giving these mortgage lenders a bloody nose. I've had somebody contact me on Beat the Bailiffs and the Bankers, sorry. And it's a mortgage lender who is well known for subprime lending, or as I call them, subhuman lending. And the evidence that's coming out, they are the sort of lender who, for want of a better word, if the courts find out what they've done, they'd probably tear them to pieces. Any judge worth their salt would tear them to pieces in that High Court. I know there is one such case which went to the Chancery Division of the High Court and the Queen's Bench Division of the High Court recently. And both divisions of the High Court have ruled that it was irresponsible and reckless lending. And the repossession and the subsequent eviction are both unlawful. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that case eventually ends up, because the lender has been ordered to appear before the High Court. So if the High Court are doing that, I mean, it just goes to prove that you can only get away with it for so long, and then it catches up with you, and bingo, you are going to get pulled in front of one of the highest courts in the land and made to answer for what you've been doing.
See, this is the thing, the corruption is going on in councils, it's going on with mortgage lenders, banks, courts, it's all around there, it's all around police and everything as well. But it's all going on with the G4S as well, and the police,
Yeah. Another thing is, yesterday on 2nd of May, there was the last screening of the Great Mortgage Swindle, which I didn't stick around for, and I'm quite upset that I didn't get to watch that. But for those that did, it'd be very interesting to maybe share a few links and let people know what it were all about.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't got a link as such, but if anyone has got any links, then do feel free to contact any one of us, or even just like share it and get it shared, get it viral, so we can all see what it is, you know, because it's something that everybody should be made aware of, you know, that this mortgage, it's a scam, like, you know, your three missed mortgage payments from losing your home, and it's not your house, it's your home. It's like Tom, it's where he brought up his children, it's where him and his wife have lived for years, for a couple of decades now. But the due credit does go not only to AD, but to each and every one of you that were there, or that were lending your support, like through Facebook posts, through text messages, phone calls, emails, whatever, you name it. You gave your support to Tom. Well done, you. Well done to every single individual one of yous. And I mean, I couldn't be there myself, and I'm quite gutted that I couldn't because I had to work. But
it's bad enough, Stacey. But like you said, being just 3 missed mortgage payments from being kicked out your house, that's bad enough. But when you've got ones like Bradford and Bingley doing much more deeper things, just missing 3 payments, that's irrelevant because whether you miss them or you keep paying, if they're going to be committing fraud like we suspect they are, then how are people going to even deal with that? The only way you can deal with it is if you deal with it the way that was shown on Friday. That's the only thing that I know of, and I don't know if yourself or if Michael knows of any other company or group or anything that's really supporting people like Tom Crawford. If it wasn't for Response and the rest of the people, there'd be nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these, I got involved with Response after Paul Jane Campbell with the Rainbow Ark Animal Sanctuary up in County Durham. And it became pretty clear the modus operandi of these subprime lenders, what they were using. Again, a breakthrough came when we got hold of one of what they call the case management file, the printout, and when one came through and it was blank apart from those words printed in bold type at the top of the printout, no judgments or orders or fees paid in this case. Because where fees are not paid, that means that there's been no hearing. So it set alarm bells ringing, and I've got a feeling that the banks and UCAS and the ones behind this now know that everybody has found out how they're doing it. They've also realised that the courts have been compromised, and they are running scared. So what they do is they resort to bully boy, to violence, to trying to compromise judges, trying to compromise the courts, fiddle about with the legal system to make it easier. The more they do that, the more obvious it becomes. I can see the commercial banks, they've been absolutely caught bang to rights with cheating, the foreign exchange rate, the LIBOR rate. It's blatant.
Yeah, that's how the attempt to justify injustice, as you just said, Michael, and it's disgusting. But with these sort of times we're in now, it's expected to see much more of it, and if we don't do anything about it, that's exactly what's going to happen. We're just going to see more and more of it.
What I can see is I can see people turning away from the major commercial banks. They've lost all credibility. The government haven't got the balls to go to the courts and say, right, we want to close these banks down, the companies down, because they're not fit to, in the public interest.
You only need renationalising, Michael, as you know, don't you?
Sorry?
I'm sure you're with me that all these banks and things, they all need renationalising.
Yeah. NatWest, that used to be the National Bank and the Westminster Bank, and of course they merged. Lloyds Bank, if they hadn't been given a bailout by the taxpayer, they'd have gone completely scat. But perhaps they need to do is to say, right, sorry, we're not going to give you a banking license. And they do what they've done in quite a few parts of Germany. They've got what we call these small community banks. Some of those have been going for 100 years, and people trust them.
Well, that's why I like the Bradbury Pound, and I'm all for that. I think that's a really good idea.
No, I am as well, PJ, because at least you haven't got fraudsters involved in the banking process or anywhere in the monetary system.
Well, you might still get them sort of people in it, but at least we know that there's no money for them to make from it.
No, this is what we need to do. We need to take the fear element out of it.
It's people over profit, isn't it? That's what, like, this is what it should be, but it's profit over people. That's what's happening.
And also these Bilderbergers, I think once we begin to know who the sort of this small sort of clique of seven are, once their identities become known, I think the Bilderbergers are going to be running for the hills. They'll be running scared because they won't be able to go anywhere without looking over their shoulders.
Yeah, definitely. Right, well, we're going to go to a quick sort of interval, as it were. We're going to be playing an epic performance from the wonderful, allegedly, Reese, who was at the house of Tom Crawford's. Did try and message him to see if he could come on, but he's obviously knackered or doing something or other, running around in the sheep onesie. So this is for the people, well, the sheeple of society, i.e. G4S, the police, just doing their jobs and following orders in a perfectly acoustic version of sheeple.
Can't afford shoes, can you? No, I'm going to rob you all the sheep. Sheep so asleep, gonna fit it all. Sheep even writing on my Facebook wall. Feel the need, you put it on me. Know the world can show professor on the mainstream and all your stuff. They don't just on the monkey for the BBC. Left wing, right wing, are still making you sing to the same song, 'cause it's the same thing. Don't you think it's funny, they're chasing all the money instead of living with your regime. And sheep go bah, 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 bah. Sheep go bah. Let's go to war. Don't know what for. It's to the bankers' benefit, but you'll be blamed them for. Divide and conquer, London, Roman. Don't be old, there's a job at once. Have you been to see a judge was still before to the arms? Do you ever wonder why your kids learn nothing in school? Well, I'll tell you, coming through our drill bands, you won't understand it, pulled on the same strings, by the same hand, one with culturation, but you lack in education. Guys, lose your land, cause you don't stand. Instead, the sheep will go, bah, 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 sheep will go, bah.
Epic, very epic indeed. He was running around in his sheep onesie as well, like just walking up and down the hill there. Credit to Frank Hill for the video. Coming on to some other bits of corruption that I found out. I've done a bit of research, guys, into my local police station, because I thought, well, you know what? I need to look into stuff to do with my local police station, which is Northamptonshire Police, and was given a website. Quite shocking, really. I've had my local chief constable, which is Adrian Lee, been actually convicted for withholding evidence, and he's still with Northamptonshire Police. Can't remember what it's actually called. Can't remember what the legislation that he actually breached. But my chief constable of Adrian Lee of Northamptonshire Police is actually linked with a very, very corrupt, and well-known
Criminal?
force. Yeah, criminal. Yeah, I just couldn't think of the word, to be quite honest. It says here, where is it? Adrian's career began at Greater Manchester Police, where he joined as a graduate entrant in 1985, and was latterly the divisional commander for the South Manchester Division, one of the largest basic command units in the country. So that's something that's very interesting for you Northamptonshire viewers. And just what I'm trying to say is, guys, is that there's a lot of they've all like I've noticed with Merseyside. I think there was it was one of the higher ranking police officers, either chief constable or assistant or deputy chief constable, were linked to have worked with Greater Manchester Police as well. Don't know what the actual outcome of his actual thing was, why he left there prior to coming to us in October 1989. Not 1989, 2009. So I'm thinking of my own birthday, guys. It's quite shocking, really. There's another one here, Staffordshire Police. That's alleged to be corrupt as well. Don't know what you guys make of that. I mean, going from one corrupt system to another.
Well, Greater Manchester Police are being currently under investigation by the IPCC for corruption. I'm currently working on a case with someone who has a number of issues with Greater Manchester Police, and from what he's told me, there is one senior officer who is a decent guy, but unfortunately his junior colleagues are totally corrupt, and I have a feeling that the case is going to turn around and cause Greater Manchester Police considerable embarrassment when the details get out. I can also see there being not only sackings, I can also see certain operations being curtailed because of it, because of corruption. I mean, we're already seeing cases of corruption involving the seizure of cars for alleged no insurance. The Met were caught doing this. There have also been cases where police officers have been taking backhanders from these recovery firms. So, I mean, it does beg the question as to what is going on.
Well, we've seen a lot of webs. Well, I've come across a lot of websites with lists of names of police officers and convictions and all sorts of stuff, right? And I'm sure you guys have come across them as well.
Yeah.
A sergeant in Northamptonshire Police, and I will name him Sergeant Adrian Norton. He was alleged to have, I can't say he was actually convicted because all it says is his name, and it says next to it, attempted rape or indecent assault. Now, a sergeant, I know, is still in this police force, so if our little friends at GCHQ are listening, hi, Sergeant Adrian Norton is known with a criminal record as being an attempted rapist. What's he doing there? I know this for a fact because you can phone 101 on your landlines or mobiles, right? And I pressed option 1, which was if you know the name of the department of the person you wish to speak to. Now, if I was to, and I said the person's name into the little speaker part and said Sergeant Adrian Norton, and it said putting you through to Adrian Norton unless you say cancel. Now, Adrian Norton, if you are ever listening, or if any one of our friends at GCHQ, that would have led to me that he was still there, because surely if he was dismissed, they wouldn't have an Adrian Norton on the system. It would tell me that name's not recognised.
Well, I think we should definitely press on into that, and many other people as well. But one thing that I will say is, for those police constables out there who swore an oath and are prepared and willing to still stand by the oath, if they don't want to get the name tarred with a brush, because we don't like calling all coppers bad, get in touch with us, and maybe someone can make a website with a good police, and have a list of names with the ones that are willing to do what they're meant to be doing. I'm quite prepared to take time out to do that.
Yeah, I back that actually, BJ, because I mean, we know there are good, honest, decent coppers out there who are being given a hard time by the corrupt ones. Now, that Baltimore public prosecutor, Marilyn Mosby, I mean, she comes from a long line of police officers but she said something. She said when the bad cops, I think it was the majority of good cops, the majority are good cops, but their job is made a lot harder by the bad cops, and that is very true. I mean, when I was a copper myself, yeah, the bad coppers, the bad pennies, if you'll pardon the expression, they used to make our job a lot harder because, of course, if you've got one bank copper, unfortunately, blood sticks. They think the whole police service is corrupt. So yes, the bad ones do actually affect the good ones.
They do. I mean, I'm quite passionate, and I say bad cops, bad cops. There are some good cops, but at the same time, the bad is always outweighed by the good. Like you say, with the corrupt ones putting the pressure on the.
Yeah,
good.
they are. They are. There's evidence of that. I mean, there was a sergeant in one of the forces in the county surrounding the Greater London area who was forced out because he was getting fed up of seeing a lot of people brought to the custody suite who he knew straight away had been unlawfully and illegally arrested.
Oh, God.
And when he spoke out about it to senior officers, he was bullied, he was intimidated, he was made out to be mentally ill. Now, this is the sort of psychotic people who are at near the top of the police service. And really true, we need to back these good police officers and get rid of these psychopaths and these psychotic officers and rid the police service of them. Because until we do, you're going to get officers who will be allowed to do what they like, and they will get completely out of control.
If I was a police constable and I was given that opportunity to, just mention who I am, or whether it's just my number, my collar number, or what, I'd jump at that chance. I'd jump at chance, honestly. So, if there is any constables out there who want to be recognised for doing good work, then come forward. Let us know who you are.
Yeah,
and at least that way we can filter out the ones that we're actually all looking for, and that way it could be a lot quicker and easier.
That is a very good idea, actually, Peter, because once we identify who the corrupt ones are, what they're doing, what they've done, then we can start doing something about it. People who've been had their car seized and destroyed when really and truly they've done nothing wrong. We can get that sorted. We can then expose it, and if necessary, we can have that forces as a hierarchy investigated. And if necessary, the police get the police and crime commissioner to force an investigation into what's been going on.
Speaking of commissioners, information commissioner. I know it's not exactly information commission based, but everybody's heard of the Freedom of Information Act, haven't they?
Yep.
Well, as most, I did post up in Unity Peace Patrol News Facebook page that I was going to do a little bit of something about a Freedom of Information request that I did with my local police station. Well, my police force, actually. In part of the email here, and I'm only going to give you part because we're waiting for a reply from Northamptonshire Police of what I actually asked. Here's 3 of the 10 questions that I actually asked. Now, it goes on and on and on, but once we get the reply, it'll be all good, and I can obviously give you all of it. So, 3 questions that I actually asked was the precise and accurate number of police officers of Northamptonshire Police of all ranks, including the Chief Constable, that hold a criminal record. And the second one was the precise and accurate number of police officers of Northamptonshire Police of all ranks, including Chief Constable, that have received adequate training with regard to Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act 2015. My betting is it will probably be a 0. The final one that I'm going to reveal is the precise and accurate number of police officers of Northamptonshire Police of all ranks, including Chief Constable, who have been subject to the Mental Health Act 1983. Now, I don't know about you guys, but what would you think? Would you actually ask your local police force that, or Like, well, the list goes on. Michael was there when I did the whole lot.
Yes, it is a very, very relevant question to ask. The stress that police officers are under at the moment is unbelievable. They're under pressure to meet targets. Whoever decided to set those targets needs to be outed and put away. They need to be locked away.
Yeah, Mr.
They
Tony.
cause a lot of harm to police officers. I mean, I was watching, I think it was Night Cops on Big TV. You could see these police officers getting in a right old temper, and one of them was standing in the street, and you could see he was so stressed out. I thought he was going to collapse. And this is what we really need to do, is find out just how many officers are being subject to sort of unprecedented stress at work. Now, the HSE do say you must not subject your employees, an employer must not subject their employees to unnecessary stress. Now, there is a certain amount of stress in the police. But at one time, they were not subject to the Health and Safety at Work Act. They are now. And unfortunately, I did hear that the number of suicides involving serving officers is running at quite a high number. When I was a policeman, you were lucky if you had 2 a year nationally. And that was to do with things outside the job, like money problems, divorce, bereavement, things like that. At the moment, these are serving officers, and I mean, the number is between about 10 and 14 a month nationally, and I mean, that is unheard of. And it does beg the question, what is being done for these officers? Now, one possibility are the Tetra radios they're using. There is a gentleman called Dr. Barry Trower. Dr. Trower is a leading authority, a leading expert on Wi-Fi and microwave technology and science. And he has shown that the digital signals from the Tetra radios, which are microwaves, because of the proximity to their brains, it's causing a chemical change in their brain chemistry, which is making them aggressive. But also, it's causing cancer. I mean, there's one where the officer found they had cancer in their lymph nodes under their arms. When they checked to see, it was exactly where the dock, that plastic clip where the Tetra radios clip into, it was exactly there. The heat from the microwaves that were being given off by the aerial on top of the radio cum mobile phone. It was burning. It was causing a burn, but also it was irradiating them. It was causing tumours. Now, this is the sort of thing that a lot of these police officers are kind of being exposed to without really knowing it. Now that they know they're being exposed to this, some of them are beginning to take precautions, but I don't think that all of them are. The other thing is the question that needs to be asked is, are police officers abusing anabolic steroids like testosterone, which is the main one? There are risks with testosterone. You can become very aggressive. With a woman, it can cause her to grow hair on her face, her sutures, and that's because she's got too much testosterone. But it can also cause the heart problems. The other very serious problem with raised testosterone levels is there is a risk of sudden death, and quite literally that means you could drop dead at any second. So we need to, I think the police service as a whole need to be looked at long and hard, and they need to ask themselves, what is going on? Are these officers being exposed to either environmental things or stress that the human psyche or the human body was never ever intended to be exposed to?
Same as these tasers, isn't it? Just seen a piss take of taser being used with our favourite constable. You know who we're on about, Michael?
Yes, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. With tasers, they are extremely dangerous. They should never. They were when the person who invented the taser introduced it. It was intended for one thing and one thing only, and that was for situations where people had a firearm, and it was to replace rifles that the police were using. It was to provide a non-lethal alternative to rifles, high-velocity rifles.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the taser has become an instrument of oppression and control. And one thing that they have found out is that whenever you expose a person to a burst of electricity from one of these tasers, we're talking about 50,000 volts, it causes the body's white blood cell count to double each time they get a 50,000 volt jolt. And that can be very, very dangerous indeed. You've also got to take into account that there may be people who have heart defects. They can cause a cardiac arrest, and really and truly, I mean, frontline officers should not be issued with tasers. The tasers, I mean, they've also now found that the police are stockpiling these wretched things. To my mind, they should be taken away, they should be dismantled and recycled.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess one thing they'd probably come out and mention is it's also to protect as police dogs as well. They'll probably come out with something like that because obviously, if they're trying to apprehend someone who's got a gun, then a police dog's probably not your best bet. But maybe a taser probably could do that job a bit better. But if we want to start talking like that, then why don't we just change these tasers to tranquilizers?
Yeah.
Like tranquilizer darts?
Well, you could use a tranquilizer dart. That is an alternative. I mean, they use them.
Or allergic to the chemicals in them.
Well, I mean, they use them to bring down animals when they need to.
Yeah.
Well, the reason they do that is to bring them down so they won't hurt themselves, so they can carry out medical treatment on them. With a human being, the problem with them is these tranquilizers make you lose control of your bladder and your bowels. So, I mean, imagine you kind of get hit by one of those darts, the next thing you know, you've got stuff running down your legs. What the hell's going on?
A stun gun does exactly the same thing, Michael, and I know they're not that powerful. We're not talking a million volts, we're just talking, what is it, 25,000?
Well, with the taser it's 50,000.
Is it 50? Right, well, it's still not that much. No, it's not, you know, it's good. It could make you, you know, lose your bowels and that, but I don't see any different from a tranquilizer. At least you're past that. And another thing is, if you're against some police who are corrupt and they're going to use the tasers, and not only that, they're going to come and give you a good hiding afterwards, then at least we're tranquilised. You're not going to experience anything that happened, are you?
Yeah, but no. But they have. I think the medical evidence now is that they are extremely dangerous, and of course this doubling of the white blood cell count with each blast of these things. But I mean, yes, I mean if they've got a gun, yeah, then fair enough. I mean, it's better really to use an electric shock to try and bring them down, to just sort of incapacitate them, but not just to kind of just point a taser at somebody just because they won't answer a question, which is what some officers are doing, and that's blatant misuse of these.
That's the force at the end of the day. I mean, even like just pushing someone on the ground on their front, that's still classed as, well, it still is excessive force, like putting your knees on their back or whatever.
It's fear force, that's what I'd call it.
Pardon?
Fear force.
It is.
It's all done in fear, innit? That's the force that they use it for.
That's what they use the taser for. Like, even pointing at someone is enough to scare the life out of you.
Yeah, but that's not what they should be doing. I mean, if they can't get someone's cooperation by using their mouth and speaking to them as a human being, I mean, firmly, yeah. I mean, what they do is shout, yell, but in fact that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
They bring it and start waving a taser around. I mean, if they're that incompetent, they shouldn't be in the job. It's as simple as that.
No.
But,
speaking of what is it? Speaking of excessive force, got an article here from literally today. It was shared through a kind viewer, so thank you very much for that. got a thing here where it says man dies after being restrained in Paynton in Devon, not very far from yourself, Michael.
Yeah, Paynton's about, well, where I'm in Plymouth, Paynton's about 30 odd miles away. Exeter's about 45 miles. So it's about halfway between, but it's on the South Devon coast. With this one, well, as the report says, the guy was being restrained by door staff. And it says, then it goes on to say he was taken to Torbay District Hospital, which is a very good hospital, and he died as a result of whatever. Now, where somebody dies as a result of contact with the police, and yes, the Independent Police Commission have to get involved. Now, I'm going to read about here that Assistant Chief Constable Ross Middleton. He said our thoughts and condolences with the family, and we are providing support at this difficult time. And then it goes on to say 3 men, aged 54, 43, and 35, were arrested on suspicion of a fray in connection with the altercation outside the Roadhouse, which is the nightclub, and have been bailed pending further inquiries. Then this Assistant Chief Constable goes on to say the force's major crime investigation team has already commenced an investigation into this incident, and that will continue. Well, speaking from experience, the major crime investigation team do not get involved unless something very, very serious has happened.
Don't forget that this is from the BBC as well.
I know, but the ages of the 3 men that have been bailed, it does beg the question: did the bouncers go too far? Were they using excessive force?
No.
It brings up those questions. Who else are these 3 men who've been bailed? It's not rocket science. It's pretty obvious if the bouncers were restraining him, the police kind of then took over and then suddenly realised, oh, damn, this guy's gone limp. He's not responding. Oh, SH1T. Yeah. So it doesn't take a lot of working out.
Oh, crap sticks.
Yes, something like that. But it does beg the question: has the licensing of door staff had any beneficial effect? My answer to that is they are still carrying on the same as they were before licensing came in. They need to clamp down on it even further. I mean, the SIA are under-resourced. And these accredited trainers, some of them are very good, but a lot of them, really and truly, the SIA really do want to start sort of really checking up on them, and where the training is wanting, they want to take away their accreditation and say, sorry, no, we're not letting you train people anymore. You're not training them properly. That's it. The public have a right to be protected. This is why the SIA was set up. The reputable part of the private security industry, or they call it the Independent Professional Security Association, IPSA, which is the trade body. They knew there were rogue operators within the industry, and they wanted them out of the way because they were giving the reputable firms a bad name, but also they were assaulting members of the public. They were doing things they shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, even though the SIA was set up with good intention, because of the underfunding and the under-resourcing, they don't have the resources to be able to carry out inspections on those they license, or on those who are supposed to train them to a satisfactory standard. And really and truly, they need to be better resourced and better financed.
I just wondered if I could come in on a little article here on these on this taser subject while we're on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you can. You're in the chat box if you... Can you put it in there?
Yeah, can you just let me know when you can see?
Yeah, I can see it there.
I just want to bring you back to the case with Raoul Moat several years back now, where shotgun tasers used by police on Raoul Moat were ineffective, non-lethal weapons. Home Office expert tells Killers Inquest. If you can jog your mind back to this, they were using that called the X12 shotgun tasers. I'm not going to go into this story. I just want to use it as an example on what I'm trying to get across here. But Just down here it says the inquest has heard that police fired the X12 tasers, which were licensed only for testing, because standard X26 handheld tasers did not have the necessary range. However, early in the inquest, one of the officers who fired at Mo, identified only as Zulu 24, admitted that his round had no effect whatsoever on him. So pretty much saying that his new type were just licensed for testing only, were pretty much useless. But
Yeah,
that's the story. If you want to, believe the story, I've got my own thoughts on this particular thing. But I just want to touch on that just to add to what we're talking about. Really, that we're all.
Yeah, I can remember when they were when those shotgun tasers first came out, and they were having quite a few problems with them, like technical problems with them. So that doesn't surprise me one little bit, BJ.
Yeah,
Definitely doesn't
It
surprise
doesn't surprise me at all. Why let police officers use things which have not been thoroughly tested and certified as safe or fit to be used? I mean, that's sheer madness.
Absolutely. I've got another article here from Russia Today. It actually says over 3,000 UK policemen investigated for alleged assault, but 98% of them remain on duty. I'll get the article up now so you guys can see it yourselves. And all of our viewers that are, even our friends at GCHQ, I'm glad if you're watching this. Here we go. It's over 3,000 police officers in the UK are under investigation for alleged assault, with only 2% of them suspended or put on restricted duties, according to British media investigation. Oh, sorry, Michael.
Sorry, that's 3,000 coppers. That's around about 10% of the total number of police officers. I mean, they're saying there were 31,000 officers in the Met. Well, that's 10% of them. But I mean, what is there nationwide? Probably about 38,000, 40,000. It was at one time. It was about 43,000, but it's a lot less than that now.
See, it says here as well about like Met officers on full duty despite being under investigation. 714 alleged assault cases. But yeah, I think there's more, to be quite truthful. I think there's a hell of a lot more. 3,000 doesn't even cover it in that book.
Yeah, I mean, assault can range from anything like wrongful arrest, pushing somebody when you've got no justification for doing so. Pulling a taser on somebody is assault. If you pull a taser on somebody but you don't actually discharge it, that is an assault, because you're putting somebody in fear of having force used against them. And an assault is putting someone in fear of unlawful force being used against them. When that force is applied, that then becomes something called battery. You hear the police use the word battery when they can't prove things like this common assault or ABH or GBH. They use the word battery because it's a form of physical attack on somebody.
So it even says here, the Independent has numbered at least 3,082 officers being investigated for alleged serious sexual and non-sexual assault. That's shocking. And it even goes on to say, the paper sent freedom of information requests to all 45 UK police forces, but not one of them replied, so the real number could be higher.
It could be a lot higher than that, I would say.
I believe it is.
I would say if you took 10% of the complement of each police force, that together, I would say probably it's near about 4,000.
See, this is what I'm thinking now. My freedom of information request might not get replied to, especially with the other questions that I did ask. Without going into too much detail, I want to leave a bit of a teaser there. If I ever do get a reply.
Well, if they don't, you can always go to the Information Commissioner, because it's the Information Commissioner who ensures that people abide by the Freedom of Information Act.
See, this is the thing. If they are actually, do you know what I mean? If you're actually saying, look, this is what I want to know, are you going to give it to me or not? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they've got to have a pretty. I mean they've got to have a pretty good reason for not complying with a Freedom of Information Act request. There are some things obviously they can't reveal if it's something like a very sensitive operation when they're trying to catch people who are involved in serious organised crime. Fair enough. But if it's just something that's going to cause a police force embarrassment or affect the public's confidence in that particular force because of something they've done and kept quiet about, then no, that's improper. That's impropriety on the part of the force. That's abusing an exemption. The other one I've noticed that some will try and use is, it's going to cost over £600. They can use that as an excuse. But the thing is, when you put it in, you put it in, so it's going to be readily available, and they can't use that one. And the Information Commissioner has got wise to most of the excuses that government departments and government agencies come up with to try and regulate of complying with Freedom of Information Act requests. And the
legislation at the end of the day, though.
It is legislation. They're not exempt from it. And like I said, the Information Commissioner's office have become wise to it, and they're very adept at saying to them, right, that's BS. You know it's BS. Obey the law and answer it. They can. The worst case scenario is they can prosecute. They can prosecute, or they can fine them. And these days, the Information Commissioner's Office goes for a civil monetary penalty, which is basically a fine. They've had that power since the 6th of April 2010. They can fine people who breach the Data Protection Act and the Freedom of Information Act. They can fine them up to £500,000. And there have been cases where they've come very near to that figure, and that's because they've been quite serious breaches of the Data Protection Act mainly. But,
yeah, but have you noticed though, Michael, just to butt in here on this, you said £500,000.
That's the maximum.
Well, now for a multi-billionaire, that's like a tenner. So have you seen how it has an effect on the ones that are the poor investigating the rich?
Yeah.
They do need to be investigated, guys, because if they don't, we're never gonna find out. This is why, they could say curiosity killed the cat, but
there is a case where the Chief Constable of Kent was fined £100,000 because somebody went and found some very sensitive documents, i.e. completed charge sheets, in a police station that had been taken out of use by Kent Police, and it had been sold for residential use. And yes, the new occupant kind of was tidying up in a room, and they found these things with Kent Police, and they were charged. It had all details of the person, their antecedents, their previous convictions. And the person sent them to the Information Commissioner, and it's on the Information Commissioner's Office website. Chief Constable of Kent was fined £100,000 with a 30% discount if they settle within 28 days. But it just goes to show that the police are not exempt from that compliance with the Data Protection Act, and that the Information Commissioner is not afraid to say, right, you've broken the law and I'm going to fine you for it. And since they've had this power to fine, they are using it, and they are using it as it should be used, and they're making good use of it. And I think the more they come down on firms and government departments who kind of are blasé with people's personal data, the better, because at the moment the firms just seem to think they can do what they like with people's personal data, and there's going to be no consequences. That's what they were doing before this fine regime came in. But after it came in, they are beginning to take it a lot more seriously, because the Information Commissioner is handing out some pretty hefty fines, and yeah, I think the highest to date is about 480,000. That was handed out to a local. I think it was handed out to a local authority that has really. I mean, their breach have been very, very serious. It involves security of data, disclosure issues, and yeah, it was as serious as it could come. But they got fined, I think, between 450 and 480,000 pounds. But because it was a local authority who picked up the tab for it, the taxpayer.
Yeah. See, what would be your message in light of what we've covered tonight, Michael, to our viewers and our possible viewers at GCHQ?
Well, I would say don't believe everything you're told by the media, the mainstream media. Don't believe everything. Always question the police, because obviously you could be fed a load of tripe, as becoming very, very clear.
Tripe, yeah.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to use Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act. A lot of police officers don't know about it, but I think in the next coming months they are going to find out very, very quickly that it does have an effect. I think you're going to come in there, BJ.
I was just saying, when you were talking, you were discussing Data Protection Act, and I just wanted to clarify to those that are listening, in which cases you'd be able to, like, for an example, if you wanted to video record something, like, I've heard many people saying they've gone into job centres and G4S has said, no, you're not allowed to do that in here, part of Data Protection Act. I just wanted you to clarify what people can and really can't do when it comes to Data Protection Act.
Yeah, that doesn't come under the Data Protection Act. The only time it does is if you are filming a document with someone's personal details on it, then that does come under the Data Protection Act. But filming somebody for either your own protection or because you're making a documentary or something, or what's called guerrilla filmmaking, no, that's not subject to data protection. That comes under common law, and it also comes under the Copyright Designs of Patents Act. But now, when they start screaming about the Data Protection Act, the answer to that is no. You've got the wrong act. Doesn't apply. It's only what the Data Protection Act is made to do is to stop improper disclosure of things like CCTV and people's personal details are improperly disclosed to somebody. That's what the information.
Yeah, and that's why they usually say reason. You know, when they stop you from filming in for example, a job centre, they'll if you question that, they'll then say, well, there could be documents on tables lying about on desks and things, and
well, they shouldn't be. They know that.
Yeah,
that's because they've got themselves in it. They're very good at that.
What you need to say is can you quote what statute of Data Protection Act are you talking about? What section? That's
one thing. But with the DWP, they're very good at. Some of them are very good at dropping themselves in it and dropping the Department for Work and Pensions in it. The usual one, you ring them up and ask them why are they taking so long to deal with something. Oh, we've lost the file. And then you say to them, am I to understand you are admitting to me that the Department of Work and Pensions has breached the Data Protection Act? Their attitude then becomes, can we ring you back in half an hour? And half an hour later, they ring you back. We found it. Where was it? In a stationery cupboard. What's it doing in there? Because they, if your file with the DWP is, the paper file is kept in a secure filing cabinet. It's a security filing cabinet or cupboard.
Inland Revenue have got them as well. Most of the places have got them.
Yeah, and to say, oh, we found it in a stationery cupboard is a load of baloney. If they are leaving people's sensitive documents on an open desk in an open job centre, that is a breach of data protection because they are not taking the security of that data seriously. If they are going to leave stuff on there, if they are going to move away from their desk and there is somebody's personal details on that desk, they should be put into a drawer and the drawer locked. And those apparently are internal rules within the DWP. Do not leave anybody's personal data on an open desk where somebody just walk over and have a look at it.
I've witnessed many job centre advisors when they get up to leave the desk and probably go to the printer. They'll forget that they've left the card in keyboard and it's all, you know, systems all open and active. So they'll be doing a mad dash back just to close it down and get the card.
Yeah, that is just carelessness. I mean, yeah, the fact that they realise they've done it and gone bolting back to take it out, well, it shows, yes, at least they've realised some. They just kind of walk over, and they're completely oblivious. I mean, when I was having to go down the job centre before, they said you don't have to come down anymore. I was in there one day, and the guy I was with, I mean, really nice bloke and very, very helpful. They're not all bad. There are some very, very helpful people in the DWP who work for the DWP in the job centres and in the benefit delivery centres and their call centres.
Yeah.
And he kind of looked across and kind of shook his head. I said, "What's up?" He said, "God," he said, if the manager saw me, he said, he'd string them up. I said, "Do you think he will?" He said, "If he comes and catches them like that, he will."
See, whenever I see them with their cards in, I sort of sit there, wait till they come back. I'm like, you do realise you just took that out, so anyone could have read where I live. And
Yes.
and their faces just ever so slightly go off colour.
And, it kind of goes from healthy pink to sort of ghostly white.
And say, you know, I could sue you if my data ever gets out to anyone. And they were like, no, you'd have to go contact the job centre manager. I went, no, I'd sue you personally.
They can be prosecuted. They can be prosecuted by the courts. The Information Commissioner can prosecute them through the courts, and they can be fined and convicted by the courts.
Which is, oh, sorry, Michael.
No, so go ahead, PJ.
Yeah, I was just going to mention other private companies like A4E, you know, because obviously they're getting all your information as well, and you've heard about A4E case with fraud and that.
Yes, I also know they were fined by the Information Commissioner's office.
Yeah.
That's why they're not there anymore. I don't think.
Well,
they're still around. Yeah, still around.
Still around. Yeah, I know. With one case where A4E got caught by they were one of the Information Commissioner's office's earliest skulls. What they did is one of their staff took one of these laptops home with them with sensitive information about claimants on them. There was a burglary. The laptop got stolen along with a couple of memory sticks, I think. And yes, it did affect a number of the claimants whose details were on the laptop. Not surprisingly, A4E got fined about, I think in one case about £40,000 and another about 60,000. And that was one of the earliest ones that the Information Commissioner used their powers to fine on. And then of course they got the fraud got uncovered. So they've got quite a checkered history for A4E.
I'm speaking with a lady up there. She was saying, like, she said she couldn't come into work. She had some issues going off. So I went, all right, okay. And she went, yeah, my national. This was somewhere in the southern area of the country. I think it was Kent or something. Her and about 200 others had her national insurance number cloned and all her bank cards, and they were claiming benefits. They were claiming, there was loads of stuff, and she don't know how on earth they got this information had come out, which was
one thing they have found. There was a West African gang, organised crime gang, were using false identities and false national insurance number to rip off the taxpayer for millions. I think in one case there was about £4.2 million kind of ripped off.
Yeah. Has anybody seen the that Guardian interview with the job centre whistleblower known as Kay?
No, I haven't. So I would love to see it because I bet it
Give me 1 minute. I'll try and find it and bring it up.
Yeah, no problem.
I bet it has certain people's backsides twitching.
Well, one thing I will say, I'm not going to mention any names to places and things, but I witnessed that person kick off within a job centre, and when it happened, I thought it was just, you know, someone going in to sign on, until I realised they were part of the workforce. And that's all I'm saying. So I know he's telling the truth because I witnessed it.
Good grief.
Shocking, isn't it? You know, you just can't trust anyone, even with your personal data. It's like, I don't know, my local council, they say they're going to send my details off to this, that and the other for debt collection. I'm like, I've got a debt with you, so shut up.
When they start doing that, that is an abuse of their authority. It's also an abuse of trust.
I always ask, under what statute are they acting on? They soon
they shut up very quickly because they know that if they can't prove that they've got, the thing is, unless they've got a very, very good and legitimate reason for doing so, that can be tantamount to attempted blackmail. I mean, I was reading of a case today where a bailiff threatened to break in and clear out somebody's house, and they said, well, you can't do that for council tax. Then the bailiff said, oh, well, I'll report you for defrauding the thing we bought, the social fund. They said, trot off.
Didn't they? There was one that you said, I don't know whether it was you, whether it was someone else, Michael, I might be mistaken. They had a bailiff come to their door and they reported them for having someone living there or something that they shouldn't have.
Yes, it was. I think that was the one. I think it may have been the one I saw today or a couple of weeks ago. They did, and it was proven to be completely false. I don't know what's happened to that bailiff, but
benefit fraud or something along them lines. Anyway,
well, if you make a false allegation against somebody to the police or to any of the law enforcement agencies, and it does turn out that it is false, and you knew it was false at the time you made the allegation, that is perverting the course of justice. It's not wasting police time. That can be a sort of a minor sort of side offence, but the actual offence is perverting the course of justice. All you've got to do is make an allegation which is false and which could result in a person being arrested or prosecuted. All that's needed. People who make these allegations need to be very, very aware that if your allegations are found to be false, somebody has been taken into police custody, or they're told they're going to be reported, or they've been put through an interview under caution because of your actions.
Yeah.
You yourself can find yourself being interviewed under caution. You can find yourself being taken to court, and you could find yourself being sent to prison for quite a long time. It's an indictable offence to pervert the course of justice, and it carries a maximum penalty of life imprisonment. If you conspire with someone else to do that, it's an aggravating factor, and that can actually, say you were somebody who did off their own bat, decided got sent down for 8 months. If you conspire with somebody with the aggravating factor, that could increase it to 12, possibly 18, possibly 24 months. So if we've got any of our bailiff friends listening who do that sort of thing, I would suggest you stop doing it, because if you get caught, you could be going to prison, and you could be going there for a long time.
Yeah, it's absolutely mad. I mean, I think our little friends at GCHQ are probably having a day off. If they are, if they're not, then, you know, get
Well,
out.
perhaps, well, if they're listening into what I've just said, perhaps they'd like to pass that on to the civil enforcement industry. I'm sure they would if we asked them nicely.
Yeah, hang on a second. I've just had a thing here come through from one of my friends on Facebook. This is what happened. She basically, this is what was said. She's thinking about putting in a complaint about a certain mobile phone company. All the contracts in this house, all the contracts are all in her name with this known phone company. They were due an upgrade, so they phoned the one that her partner had, and was offered it to him, and he said, yeah, that's fine. But because the contract is in her name, she was really angry because they should have to speak to the account holder, not the person that's holding the phone at the time, surely.
Yes, that's right. It's it is the person whose name is on the contract. The contract is between the company and that person whose name is on the contract. It should not be sort of doing things like that. No, that person could could say, well, sorry, hold on a minute. Why didn't you speak to me? That's a potential breach of contract. If a mobile phone company is getting arsy and saying, oh, we don't have to do anything, oh, blah, 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 I would strongly advise them to seek expert legal advice, because the lady could have quite a good case against them for breach of contract. And if they try to start waving around any pieces of paper saying, oh, we can do that, there's another law, the Unfair Contract Terms Act 1977, as amended, which outlaws any unfair contract terms. So I think the mobile phone company really and truly do need to sit down with her and kind of say, yeah, okay, we shouldn't have done that. What do you want us to do to put it right? That's what any reasonable person would do.
Yeah, see, this is what I said. I said, why don't you write to the CEO?
Yeah, always go right to the CEO. I mean, if you've tried the customer services department and all you're getting is the runaround, then a very strongly worded letter to the CEO will normally, in most cases, will bring up a satisfactory resolution. One thing to do is always state in your letter what resolution you want, not what they want, you want.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure and keep it reasonable.
Definitely, I think
PJ was trying to bring something up there, and I can see he's trying to. I can see a little bit of video in the. Yeah, here it is.
I've got it up. I'm just waiting for it to go ahead, So yeah, to do with that emailing to your CEO, it does work. I mean, I've personally done it myself. So just go straight to the top, like you were saying, guys, and just cut all these compartmentalised departments off. There's no need for them.
There's no need for it. No, I mean, this is the way I was. I mean, this is probably my upbringing, but this is the way I was kind of brought up to do it. If you're gonna go for something, and you've got a complaint against the company, basically look at it like you're standing about to be mugged by about 4 blokes, and go for the biggest one. That's basically the way. That's the way I'd go for it. Is go for the top dog, isn't it? You don't go for the little dogs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, the buck stops with the CEO. You can't go any higher than him, so always go to the person at the top. And because the buck stop at the end of the day, the buck stops with them.
Yeah. See, the way I look at it is, it's data protection all round. Like, I mean,
exactly. That's exactly what it is.
It doesn't matter whether it's the person's partner on the other end of the phone there, you know.
Yeah, well, they should really and truly, they should stick to the rules. They should stick to the law. They shouldn't just kind of change their terms to suit themselves without the agreement of the other party. Because if you change, what you'd sometimes see are these clauses, oh, we can change it at any time, there's nothing you can do about it. No, you can't. You can't do what's known as an implied consent to change them. To the detriment, you've got to renegotiate them, and if the person says, right, I don't want any more of this, I'm out, you've got to put in a provision ready to release them from that contract without any form of penalty. Unfortunately, there are some companies who think they can get away with it, and I think really and truly then the law needs to be changed to really toughen up and really come down hard on these firms to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll probably make myself highly popular with the CBI and a few other organisations, but unfortunately, no. Really and truly, we do need to clean up the businesses in this country. So they treat their customers fairly. I mean, if they treat their customers fairly, those customers are going to recommend them to other people. They're going to come back to them. They're going to get a much better customer loyalty if they treat people fairly. Mm-hmm. Treat people badly, they're going to. I mean, the word's soon going to get about, and they're going to see their revenue just suddenly take a nosedive. I mean, that's human nature.
Definitely. But does anyone have any final thoughts before we wrap this podcast up?
PJ?
I think best thing we should really do is give a bit of general advice for anybody who's listening to this and interested in what we are talking about. Just ways you can, put into. I know we've mentioned a few as we've done as talk today, but can we finalise anything? Do you think, Michael?
Any more advice for the people in Liverpool and and for Tom and his family? Anything?
Well, I think with Tom, I mean, from what I read on one of the advice pages on Facebook earlier on, it seems that the barrister for Bradford and Bingley couldn't string together any sort of anything credible. Why the judge allowed that barrister to do that, I don't know. If you do find yourself faced with a situation where you are being bullied by a mortgage lender, don't assume the ostrich position and bury your head in the sand. Ask for help. It's out there. That's the first thing you have to do. Don't let it get to the situation where you've got the bailiff actually knocking on the door.
The same.
Get in touch with somebody like Response or somebody like that at the earliest possible stage. Council tax. If you find yourself beginning to get behind with your council tax, speak to your local authority. Explain to them what the problem is. Most will try and come to an arrangement with you. If they get RC, then you can go through their internal complaints procedures. Once you've exhausted those, you can take it to the local government ombudsman. Now, a lot of complaints don't ever get to the LGO because they're sorted out at the council level. But those that do, some of them have been quite serious, and the LGO has published them. There's one infamous one up against Blavey Council. That was one of the worst ones I've ever seen. It was abuse of relationship between the council and the council taxpayer and their contracted enforcement agent. With PCNs, you have a right of appeal. PCNs are parking penalty charge notices or parking tickets. And I'm talking about local authority ones. I'm not talking about these ones at private parking firms. That's a completely different thing. Challenge them at the earliest possible opportunity. If you're in London, there is something called PATAS, which is short for the Parking and Traffic Appeal Service. Outside of London, you've got the Transport Penalties Tribunal. Always use them. But obviously, if you've been caught banging to rights, try and settle it when you've still got the discount. If it gets to the point where if you get a situation where you didn't know you'd had a ticket, and the first you know is when some sweaty bailiff comes waddling up to your front doors and kind of demanding to be let in, get straight on to the Traffic and Enforcement Centre at Northampton County Court. I think we'll be covering this in a future edition of Unity Police Patrol News, where we can explain the procedures in more detail. With court fines, that we could do a whole program on, so we'll leave it to a future program.
Yeah, definitely. I think I think we need to do like a little broadcast where we can actually define the difference between, because there's a lot of people that think, like with a DCA letter, well, for people that don't know what a DCA is, debt collection agency letter, they go, oh my god, it's the bailiff, what do I do? I think we need to challenge, like sort of like get maybe some letters put together. I've got a couple.
I think it would be a good idea to explain what the difference is between a debt collector and a bailiff.
Yeah.
One providing they have a piece of paper from the court, they can. The other one has about as much right to be at your house as next door's cat has to come waddling into your garden and make a deposit on your lawn.
I love your expressions, Michael.
I can't say what I normally say because it's too rude to go out over the air.
I love some of the expressions you're coming out with tonight. They're brilliant. That's why I laugh sometimes. I don't mean like laughing at you. I'm laughing at the expression.
Oh, like when I say some civil servants are indulging in lower gastrointestinal ventriloquism.
Or the alimentary canal.
Yes, and it's kind of emitting speech from the lower end of their alimentary canal. Yeah, that as well.
Yeah, we've got to make light of this. Do you know what I mean? Of bad times. This is why we need to come in unity, come together, and just remember. This is my very inspirational quote that I've got on the display picture. The power of the people is stronger than the people in power.
True.
This is the thing. It's actually bloody proven at Tom Crawford's.
Yep, go watch the footage for those that have not yet seen it. There's many out there now on YouTube.
There's a lot of epic stuff on there, definitely. We've got a video as well. PJ, could you just explain what it's about before we wrap up?
It's a few year old now. It's to do with job seeker claimants being sanctioned and made homeless, and whistleblowers from job centre themselves, advisors that have whistleblown on certain things. And then it's also to do with citizens' advice bureaus being like overloaded with caseloads that they can't even handle, and much more stuff. But it's pretty much self-explanatory. It is from Guardian, and I'm just going to be using it for educational purposes, so hopefully not slap a copyright on it and stop this broadcast being put through, but we'll give it a shot, eh?
Yeah, you can only try, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It might be something that we'll cover in a future broadcast as well, about benefits and things like that.
Yeah, no worries.
No worries.
Let me know when you're ready and I'll start it off.
Yeah, we're ready when you are, mate.
To leave there for 6 months with no money.
You can either shine from getting people into work, but that's really difficult, or you can stop the money, which is really easy.
No, you can do, is it? Let them suffer? No, definitely not for.
A Job Centre Plus advisor has revealed to The Guardian the growing pressure to stop people's benefits, leading to vulnerable claimants being set up so their benefits get cut off, or sanctioned as it's known.
Suddenly in your job you're not looking for somebody to help them into sustainable employment, which is what you're employed to do. You're suddenly looking for ways to trick your customers into not looking for work. And you come up with many ways. I've seen dyslexic customers given written job searches, and when they don't produce them, what a surprise, they're sanctioned. It becomes a culture of let's hit the target. And nobody seems to think about the personal effect it has on people. It's always about the target. They don't care how you achieve it, they don't care who you start.
The whistleblower Kay said advisors in his office have a target of 3 claimants a week to refer for sanctions to a decision maker who rules on the case. A sanction may then be applied from 1 week to 6 months. During this time, job seekers' allowance is cut off and a claimant has to apply for hardship payments, usually half the normal amount. Clients may be sanctioned, or DMA'd as it's also known, for not trying hard enough to get a job, or for a refusal of employment.
Refusal of employment, according to the guidance on the job centre system, is when they turn down a job. But the way they're using it at the moment is if you don't apply for a job, suddenly that's a 6-month sanction. And the other one of actively seeking employment is generally you feel they're not looking for work or not trying hard enough. And this is just generally use a number of ways just to basically trick them up.
Wigan's Citizens Advice Bureau told me large numbers of their clients were reporting having their benefits cut. Although Wigan is not where the whistleblower is from.
Do something slightly wrong, you get sanctioned, and it's horrible.
They think you're not trying hard enough, they're not good. I'm going to give you money.
I hadn't gone to a back-to-work session, and I told them that I was ill, and they were just saying like that they can't do nothing.
I didn't apply for 2 jobs because I'd already been offered a job.
What, so they sanctioned you on your next claim?
Yeah, from the last one.
It's troubling times for people in job centres.
Can't find no jobs anywhere around here. It's just dead.
And these just like to mess you around because they can when you haven't got a job. I just felt like I've been attacked for no reason.
I met John, who told me a fire alarm went off during a job centre interview. His advisor said they would send application forms through the post, which came too late for the deadline for 3 jobs.
I literally took him out to the door and rung them up straight away. They just basically stopped my money, and I didn't know anything about it until I actually checked my bank. I rung up to find out why I'd not received my money, and they said I'd been sanctioned until the end of May from February. It's outrageous, the length of the sanction. It's completely and utterly unfair. It's not fair to leave somebody at 6 months with no money. I actually lost a lot of weight because of the amount I'm actually eating. Been thrown out of my parents' address. I'm living with a friend, I'm actually sleeping on the couch. I don't have anywhere else to go, apart from the streets.
John turned to his local Citizens Advice Bureau, who helped him with food parcels and to appeal the decision. Citizens Advice have reported a significant rise across the country in similar cases.
In general, a caseload for a caseworker at Citizens Advice used to be between 80 and 100 clients for a full-time worker. Now I'm a full-time worker, and my caseload, as well as my other colleague, Diane, who's a full-time worker, his caseload is bordering 160 clients.
Andy Robertson spent 8 years working at a job centre before joining Citizens Advice.
This is today's post that's just come in for one day, which is all linked with the cases. So in this one being medical evidence, come back from a consultant which needs review to see if it'll help with the client's grounds for appeal. With sanctions, what's happening at the moment is possibly the worst thing I've ever seen with regards to practice from the Department of Work and Pensions. I mean, the amount of people that this is actually affecting and how many lives it's actually affecting, this seems to have gone up 200–300% in the last 6 months. And clients seem to be getting sanctioned on the job seekers allowance now for next to nothing. It's been the biggest fundamental change I've seen in working benefits in the last 12 years, and an increased workload and increased distress of clients and advisors who more seem like robots as opposed to being human beings.
Kay says this is because of the target culture, which leads to competition between colleagues and offices.
Well, my particular team has a board that has what they may have done each week and how you're doing against the other people in your team. And then they look at office versus office. And then it goes to area versus area. And it just all seems to be, let's try and move all these tables that mean nothing really in the sense of actually improving the situation of unemployment in Britain. It's just done mainly almost quite vindictively, and we don't even save real money.
The Department for Work and Pensions denies that they give targets to job centres or to regional offices. But national statistics show a significant rise in the numbers of people being sanctioned in the last year.
Saving the public purse is always a phrase used in our office. It's done home all the time. Oh, you're doing a good job, you're saving the public purse. It's an explanation. Feel good about saving someone's money. You just saved your own pocket.
Oh yeah, I'm ringing up regarding a client's job seekers allowance sanction. Now shall we see?
There is also evidence that vulnerable people are being caught by the harsher regime.
A lot of clients who have severe mental health problems. This seems to be affecting. It's also affecting clients who have reading and writing difficulties, people who are dyslexic, who have work capabilities in many different types of fields, but who are unable to fill in application forms themselves. Advisors were previously exercising their discretion, who were more on a human level where they could actually see a client face to face, know what their limitations actually were. Now that human relation, client-advisor balance doesn't seem to exist anymore. Now it's more so that, right, if you don't apply for the job, you are getting sanctioned.
Oh, it totally gets the wrong people. It leads, but it's the target that leads you to this. It leads you to setting up those who are easy, those who aren't going to kick off with you, those who really don't understand what's going on, those who, quite honestly, are just completely, to be honest with you, gullible to the person who's helping them when really they're looking to set them up. Young often fall into it because they just haven't been there long enough. The uneducated are generally another major target. While they may not be a person with a disability, they have seriously low educational standards, and it's easy to exploit them. And you very rarely see the hardcore ever taken because they know all the forms, they know it better than most of the staff, the system.
Some people think that you've got to be strict on benefits because there are people that are work shy and won't apply. Do you think that applies to you?
I'd actually do anything to get off the door because it's horrible. It seems completely like they're just targeting people that are actually looking for work.
What's it done for your kind of job searching situation?
Completely hindered it because it's actually left me in a state of depression. I've lost weight, I'm tired.
You know, if you fall on hard times, this is supposed to be the place where you go for help, where somebody gives you some guidance. Most people hate the target. They don't like doing it. They feel guilty afterwards doing it. You can see staff switching customers with another staff member so they don't have to see somebody they've DMA'd the previous week because they just can't face it. I had a customer who came to me after I'd DMA'd him and he'd been basically beaten up because he couldn't pay somebody. And I couldn't actually imagine, the feeling was, I just felt absolutely terrible and I didn't really, and yeah, he hadn't done the job search that he should have done properly, fair enough, but it still didn't make it still weren't right, you know. I can't claim that that was the right decision to make and that what I did benefited anybody. Quite honestly, I try not to think about the other effects. It's the only way you get through it.
The DWP statistics also reveal that areas with high unemployment, like the Northwest and the Northeast, tend to have harsher referral regimes. The stricter application of sanctions also coincides with cuts to job centre staff and provision.
I went to the job centre and asked them if I could do a course in care because I want to be like a care worker for the elderly. Halfway through the course, you need a CRB check because you need to do a placement in the care home. The job centre assured me that I could be funded for a CRB check, but when it came down to it, I definitely needed the CRB check there and then. They said I can't be funded for it. I had to leave my course. I had a job waiting for me at the end of the course, but I felt like they got my hopes up and then just like smashed them down again.
From April, we offer no provision in our office. Nothing. No training course, nothing. The funding ends at the end of March. We're trying to get everybody onto a course at the moment. Those who still care, we're trying to get as many people onto courses as possible. Because in April we know there's no funding at all. There are only two targets now. You can either shine from getting people into work, but that's really difficult, or you can stop the money, which is really easy because you can introduce a system to do it.
Why do you think people aren't speaking out about this?
Fear of the job. The fact that they'll probably get sacked. And they don't want to join the people they're signing.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it just goes to prove that there is a lot of corruption going on.
Yeah, 2011 that.
Yeah, and it's still going on.
Shocking.
Well, I mean, I know somebody who was told to go. I mean, the person had quite a bad illness. I think they had renal failure or something, and they were told by the job centre plus claimant advisor not to mention their age or their health issues on a job application. Well, the person was just too honest. When they went to this office job, they told the employer, and the employer said, "Well, he said, thank you for being so honest with me." He said, because if I'd taken you on with that particular condition, he said, it would have invalidated my employer's liability insurance. He said, if I had known about that, he said, I would have had invalid insurance. He said, and apparently there is a £70,000 fine for employing people without a valid certificate of employer's liability insurance. So not only would the claimant would have been prosecuted possibly for fraud by failing to disclose information, the employer would have been prosecuted as well. It does beg the question, do these job centre plus advisors, or indeed the psychotic nutters at the top of the DWP, realise just exactly how serious that sort of stunt is.
Well, we know who the psychopath really is. It's Ian Duncan Smith, isn't it?
Oh yes, him. Yes, Mr. I'm demented and stupid.
But I do have a song that's it's been played on a previous broadcast, Michael. Before we wrap up, though, have you got any other final thoughts before we do?
Yes, one final one. If you do find yourself getting into financial problems, remember that there are other people out there who are in the same boat as you. There's always people out there willing to help you. All you need to do is go on, beat the bailiffs, or the one that Stacey runs.
Bailiff Unity Patrol.
Unity Patrol. We're all on Facebook. We all give our time freely. We don't charge.
No.
And we will, if we can help you, we will. But you need to come to us at the earliest possible opportunity so we can help you and we can possibly stop you from ending up in court or even the bailiffs banging on your door.
And don't adopt the ostrich position, as Michael likes to say.
Yes, which is called burying your head in the sand. It's the worst thing you can do.
Definitely.
Don't be an ostrich. Be one that kind
of... Be a lion.
Keep your head upright.
Giraffe.
Yes, exactly.
Don't be an ostrich, be a lion. You can roar and run around and chase things. Like what we're doing.
Like the bailiff on his backside.
We wouldn't actually advise that because you'd probably get contaminated yourselves, guys.
Yes, I know there was. I think there was a case where where a bailiff did climb over a wall, and there were two big Dobermans in the garden, and they decided to play with him. Well, when the owner got home from work and found there's boat on the lawn, or what remained of someone's boat, he called the police, and police said, right, okay, so they went round all the local sort of doctor searches. They eventually found this bailiff in the local A&E department having an anti-tetanus jab up his backside. It appeared that the two Dobermans saw him coming in and decided to just kind of play with him, kind of grab his boat, sunk their teeth in his backside. That's the last time he tried that one.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, PJ, on tonight's broadcast?
Just to thank viewers for tuning in, and yourself, Stacey and Michael, for inviting me on.
Oh, thanks for coming on. You're always welcome.
Hope you can join us again sometime, BJ.
Yeah, anytime.
Okay, that's great, mate.
Alright, guys, well, we've got a special song that we've used on a broadcast before, but it's always quite uplifting after such serious conversation. This goes out to our little friends at GCHQ. It goes out to especially Ian Duncan Smith and Bradford and Bingley and Tom Crawford. So here we go. I think everybody will appreciate this song. So here we go. I take no credit for this song anyway.
You can stick your new world order up your ass. You can stick your new world order up your ass. You can stick your new world order when the sun don't shine without her. Stick your new world order up your ass. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. We don't be arrested in a dressing gown. We don't be arrested in a dressing gown. We don't be arrested in a... She is such a sinner. Should be arrested in a dressing gown. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies where the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies where the chemtrails and their evil plan fails. Blue skies where the chemtrails are all gone. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. You can stick your poison vaccines up your arse. You can stick your TV programs up your arse. You can stick your GMO foods, but we ain't gonna go school. Stick your Georgia Guidestones up your arse. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. Oh, I'd rather be a human than a slave. Oh, I'd rather be a human than a slave. Oh, I'd rather be a human. Don't you know that you can rather be a human than a slave? You can stick your new world order up your ass. You can stick your new world order up your ass. You can stick your new world order, the sun don't shine but altar. Stick your new world order up your ass.
Epic song, epic. Anyway, guys, this wraps up our Unity Peace Patrol news evening. Have a good one, and we'll hope to be broadcasting very soon. Thanks ever so much for viewing, especially our little friends at GCHQ.